We're making a connection. We're making a connection all the way to Red Square. Good morning, John Duggan.
Good morning, guys. Dobro Utra from Russia. I'll raise you your papers with this paper, the Metro I got this morning.
Can you read it for us, or what?
No, I can't read it for you guys. It's in Cyrillic. So I think it's Igor Akinfeev. If you might be able to see it on the front cover. But yeah, I'm in Red Square here right now. And fans right in front of me, and I'm looking, guys, at the countdown clock. 7 hours, 42 minutes and 0 seconds to the start of the greatest show on earth, the World Cup 2018. 32 days, 32 teams, 64 games. Let's bring it on, folks.
What's it like? Do the general run-of-the-mill Muscovites care about this tournament? Have they tuned in? Are they aware of what's going on?
I think they are, obviously, and I think today will be a huge day for them. I think today will determine a lot of their interest in the World Cup. The fact that 81,000 fans have been at the Luzhniki Stadium, most of them rushing for the Saudi Arabia game, which starts at 6 o'clock local time. That's 4 o'clock Irish time, and that will really determine in terms of their interest for the tournament. So there's a lot of hope. But in terms of realism, they're the 70th team in the world. They're the lowest ranked team in the tournament, and they haven't been out of a group stage since the Soviet Union collapsed. So that's a little bit of a worry. The good thing for them is that they're playing Saudi Arabia, probably one of the worst teams in the competition. Only took, I think, 13 from 19 points in qualifying, and we're not good on the road, Saudi Arabia. So I think if Russia could have chosen the draw they would have had for this World Cup with Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay, they would have picked it. So I think a lot will depend on how they get on today and how that'll give them any kind of momentum that they need for the Egypt and Uruguay games. Yeah,
okay. What is Moscow life like so far?
It's like any other global city in the world, lads. That's what I think it's like. You have your normal shops, your normal boulevards, your normal sites. I mean, everything is pretty located around the centre here in terms of Red Square, the Kremlin, the Bolshevik Theatre, which you saw me at yesterday. The Metro is exceptional. It's pretty unvarnished. It's pretty hurtles really fast. It's very loud. But there's a Metro literally every minute. And then you got those idiosyncratic, beautiful designs. It's like a ballroom architecture in some of the metros with Lenin and Stalin and lighting. So it's a fascinating. But it's not like the Bourne Identity, guys. It's not this kind of grim, smoky, smoggy place with people who are cold and that. It's just like any other normal city in the world. So you can read, you can see as much as you want to see in terms of the way Russia's being portrayed, but like everywhere in the world, people just want to put their best foot forward and get on with things. And I was in Brazil for both the Olympics and the World Cup the last time, and with all these things, like circuses, you come in, the circus comes into town, it's a global carnival, and then the circus leaves the town. And I think it's up to the organisers, as in terms of the host country, to make it as good as an experience for everybody who's here. And I think Russia are a little bit on the defensive, obviously with all the publicity that's been around them, probably a lot of it justified in the last few years. So I think their kind of attitude is, we're going to show you folks that we can put on the greatest show on earth, like any other city or any other country.
The Bourne Identity thing, I would kind of have been appealed by the whole Bourne Identity element, but we'll forget that. That's okay. The Bolshevik Hat, John, have you purchased one of your Bolshevik hats yet? He promised you'd wear one for us today. I have
purchased the Bolshevik hat, and I'm putting it on right now. So there we go.
There we go. I'm happy now.
I don't know if I can ask you for your papers or anything like that. But I got it yesterday in a market at Is. So that was interesting. So that was a good thing to do. So if you get one in Red Square, you'd be probably paying about €100, and I got mine for about €20. So it was a good thing, you know.
That is class. That all of your entire career has been leading to this one moment. I'm very jealous right now.
Well, thanks, guys, and I respect the privilege of being able to be here. You know, so it all leads up to this. It all leads up to the greatest show on earth and being in Russia, and obviously all the other places we're going to go over the next few weeks. Initially Novgorod to see England play, Kazan to see the quarterfinals, St. Petersburg as well. So we get through it unscathed, we'll be doing well. And I think obviously we remember ourselves growing up in 1990. Those of us lucky to remember Italia 1994, the Giant Stadium, and the way the country was split in 2002 with Roy Keane. That the World Cup, there's nothing bigger than the World Cup. I know that people might be a bit turned off by the fact that Ireland are not in it, but I think once it starts, people will get carried away by the beauty of what the international game kind of means, because club football has been really a little bit turned into a franchise model without any kind of moorings or kind of character and roots, because like a lot of teams can effectively purchase success. But for someone like Lionel Messi, who's turning up a World Cup, probably his last chance to win a World Cup. He's never won it. He's lost 3 finals in a row. This is what it's all about. But are they going to win it? Probably not.
Yeah, I think you're dead right. And I think as well that actually a lot of people started to tune in as soon as the Spanish fiasco happened. Which fans are in the background there?
We have Colombians and I think Tunisians. So I might be able to just bring my camera around to see the background.
Oh yeah, that's class. Randomly bumping into groups of fans at a World Cup is one of the best parts about it, and then just that exchange and melange of cultures, which is one of the downsides about the fact that it's not going to be in one country after Qatar, that it's going to be spread out across these giant continents. Like there's swings and roundabouts about that. You don't really get that opportunity for everybody to come and be in Milan or Lyon or Leipzig as you would have had for any of the European ones, but I guess that's just the way it goes. Was there much registering yesterday of the news that we now know exactly where the World Cup is going to be in 2026? It was pretty clear, but I think it was pretty obvious what was going to happen with the vote. I mean, I think the fact that USA, Mexico and Canada could provide, obviously, infrastructure and money, they're the two things that matter. And Morocco, I think we're always up against it. And I think that counted the vote when they lost, over 2-1. So much registering here? No. I think the Spanish issue is a bigger, juicier story and a massive story, because I think at this stage it's about small margins with Brazil, France, Germany and Spain. We get to the quarterfinal, semi-final stage, and is the fact that the pedigree is gone going to make a difference in terms of a negative way for Spain? Possibly so. So I think the Spanish thing is a bigger issue. In terms of football story, I think the USA thing was pretty much a given. It was just a bit of a rubber stamp more so than that, But yeah, it's a carnival. I was here the other night, Colombians, Peruvians, Uruguayans, and in terms of the next few days here, we've Argentina, Iceland here on Saturday. We've got Germany, Mexico here on Sunday. So everybody will be coming in and then travelling around. And for a lot of people, it's their lifetime. They got their credit unions in Colombia and Uruguay just like anywhere else. So they've made the trip to Russia and they're giving it a shot and they're going to have fun. Why not? What's the food like?
Well, I'm a bit of a weird eater. I eat like a 5-year-old mainly, so I'm kind of a chicken nuggets and chips guy. So straying from that is kind of difficult. So I've been checking into kind of posh hotels and having eggs Benedict, and I've been going to Irish pubs and eating steak and chips. So I'm sure over the next few weeks I will, I think Georgian cuisine is really big here, as opposed to Russian cuisine. Georgian cuisine and Georgian food is kind of thing. So I think as time goes on, I will, become a little bit more adventurous. But at the moment, with the madness of the last few days and trying to get settled in, you're just trying to not get sick. And you're just trying to have, what is the steak and chips? Eat the steak and chips. And food is just a thing that you just do. It's more important to buy a Bolshevik hat than to actually eat food. Yeah,
well, okay. Well, then something that definitely I hope you have tried is the Russian vodka in Russia. Does it taste is it like Spanish wine in Spain? Is it a little bit better?
Guys, I'm too determined to do a great job for Off the Ball to be drinking vodka, which costs less than a $5.
Oh, well, you've got to try it for us. We need to know. If we're going to live vicariously, it has to do this properly.
Okay. Well, that's a good carte blanche, Jared, from you and Owen. But yeah, I couldn't believe when I was at the supermarket. I should have taken a photo. I will take a photo and send it back. That you got whatever milk is this, or Heineken is this, or whatever, or cheese or whatever, and then you got vodka, loads of it, like half a litre for under a $5. And I was kind of going, this is just madness.
Right, what's going to happen tonight? I was chatting with Nathan about this. He thinks Saudi Arabia at 8 or 9-1 is a fantastic bet. I'm like, there's never been an opening fixture in world sport that I'm more confident the home team are going to win, given, just how things work in certain parts of the world.
We talk about referees here. I think it's an Argentinian referee, but I think the fans are going to be huge. I think there'll be a huge fan element to this. Like, this is probably the biggest game in Luzhniki since, I don't know, whether soccer here in 1980. I know that the Olympics were here in 1980, but probably the biggest game here since the Champions League final in 2008 when Man United played Chelsea. So I can just see the fans being that 12th man for Russia. And I think they're playing probably the weakest team in the competition. So maybe Nathan's research is better than mine, but I can just see the wave of momentum. And if Russia can't get ignited by this wave of momentum, and you've got the likes of Miranchuk and Smolov to maybe make a difference in terms of the attack, then they can forget about it and leave the tournament to the rest of us.
If I was a Russian football supporter, John, I'd be really disappointed heading into this game, because you've had a number of years to get your act together, get your house in order, maybe not enough time to develop a whole new youth academy, but certainly a hell of a lot more time to do something better with your international team. Better than being the lowest ranked team in the tournament, given the billions you've actually spent on hosting the tournament. And it just seems that it's going to be a letdown, given the group they've got. They're going to struggle to get out of it, although we wouldn't be surprised, as we've already said, if they did manage to get out of this group. That it just seems things are going to fall a little bit flat for the genuine Russian football fan over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that, we had Adair was the winning scorer, I think, for Lokomotiv Moscow in the Russian Premier League season, and he's not even in the Portugal squad. The fact that they're bringing Sergei Ignashevich back into the team, he's 39 the day before the final, probably the most decorated player. That's not a good sign that they're bringing him back after he retired. They've had two centre-backs that are being injured. Stanislas Cherchishov, the manager, is only pretty new to the job. So, Yuri Zhirkov will play, and, he was good at Chelsea at one stage, but that's a pretty long time ago now. So, Carl Keane, I think it is, the playmaker, is injured. So, yeah, obviously it's a development issue, and that's. I mean, they got the World Cup in December 2010. So they've had enough time, as you say, Owen, to get their house in order, and the house is definitely not in order if they're bringing the likes of Ignashevich back into the team. Yeah,
he's expected to start, I think, tonight, actually, given the injury woes. Like, when you look at Saudi Arabia, and I know like the odds at 8 or 9 to 1 does suggest how much of an uphill challenge this is, but Pizzi has really got them a little bit more confident, you'd suspect, than the way they were down in the doldrums previously, and kind of narrow losses to Germany and Italy in the warm-up games does give hope for somebody who is getting on those outrageous odds.
I'd be a little bit worried, though, of the stability around Saudi Arabia. I mean, Bert van Marwijk was the person who got them to the World Cup, and then he didn't agree his deal with the Saudi Arabian Federation to continue. So that would be a little bit of a worry for me. I think they've only got 2 players playing outside of the Middle East. Fahad Al-Muwallad, who's at Levante, but he's not been getting his game in Spain. So you have, I think it's really about Mohamed Al-Salawi. I think he scored 16 goals in qualifying, but 8 of them were against Timor-Leste. I don't even know what that country is. So it's just very difficult to measure what Saudi Arabia are going to do. And I think all you can do is base on the fact that their qualifying run away from home is pretty poor. I think they lost 4 matches away from home. And also the fact that at the last 3 World Cups, they haven't won a game. I think they've lost 7 and drawn 2. And it's a long time since that amazing goal they scored against Belgium in 1994, when they won 2 games and got to the last 16. So I really think that this is one of the issues about the World Cup. If you had a World Cup of 32 teams and you did it on rankings, how many European teams would be in it? 25? 20? Of course, they want to make the sport global, but because they have federations that are less strong than others, you're going to have teams like Saudi Arabia, New Zealand in recent years, Australia this year, who are going to struggle. So the good side in the global game is that you're developing the game across the world, as we've seen in the United States, in terms of their performance at the World Cup. But in terms of negative side of it, is that in terms of the lopsided balance of it, that a normal Russia, the Russia that reached the Euro semi-finals in 2008, would make mincemeat of Saudi Arabia. It's more about Russia's issues that have made it a more level playing field today.
John, fair enough. Great stuff this morning. Enjoy the rest of the day and bring it on. Thanks a million.
Okay, guys. Enjoy our first opening match. Thank you.
Das Vidania.